Upside DIY. So now, before this laptop didn't work, and now it wants to work. So now I put in a refund situation, and now I gotta change that if I'm going to keep this laptop. It could be all types of situations. I was going to try to clean up and pack this thing up, but then, and also, to do is power on the computer, and sometimes it won't power on after being shut off, and all of a sudden it starts to power on, and so that's just a normal computer. The thing is, so I used to have it passcoded and a different name, so I was able to change most of that in the control panel. There's this PC and there's a control panel, and then there's like a user accounts. So, pretty much the last thing I did was change the user accounts, pretty much change the password, and then just type in the original password and don't enter a new password, and it should reset. And then there's just changing the user name, and you could just put a different name, and pretty much the computer's name. Um, so what I want to try to get that. Got some footage of what happened. The computer was working. I was doing a little bit of work, testing cameras and devices, and even testing the memory and the storage and things. And then it started to not power on, or within the process, I couldn't put it in sleep mode, and it wouldn't power on for 2 or 3 days. First, it was, yeah. So then, so without it powering on, and then all of a sudden, after 2 days, it powered on. So I moved all the files out. Pretty much throughout this whole process, I was just really tired and thinking if I should actually just return it. So I put in a return slip, things like that. Notified them that the computer does work. There's a passcode on there if, or the computer won't power on, and there's a passcode on there. So if I return it without a SSD, then a lot of my personal information is on there. So I got to clear out all my personal information, including the passcode, and basically, just I'm at this point. But and sometimes, um, even like powering on the computer and where it starts up, I might have to start like figuring out, creating a backup point or a restore point at at important situations, I think. So what I'm going to try to do is look for that. Go into control panel, and then there's appearance, ease of access, system and security, basically restore and computer's status, save backup copies of your files. So backup and restore Windows 7. I don't know why they have that Windows 7 stuff on, like, Windows 8 or Windows 10 or Windows 11. I'm not exactly sure. So what I would try to save backup copies of your files with file history. Review your computer status. I don't know. Maybe I should try that first. Security. Okay. Update virus. So I could dismiss, change user account control settings. Um, view archived message, change security maintenance settings. Um, I'm not going to change anything because refresh your PC without affecting your files or reset it. So, So you can kind of figure out there's all types of things to research about with Google and hoping to get, really good answers and things. So I'm going to try to cancel out of that since I can't do anything. Maybe create a recovery drive. Cover media. Do you want to allow this app to make changes? Cover media create verified. Show more details. Microsoft verified. Um, so I don't want to figure out too much just yet. Or work. We're having trouble loading your widgets. Oh no, check. So to get out of that, kind of progress. And so, but just this laptop. I mean, just being a next generation, getting out of the older laptops and being slower. This is complete. This was actually a really great purchase compared to any of the other situations. But there is a little small flaw with how I was using it. Maybe I wasn't backing it up, this and that. The power settings, um, and even like right now, whereas this thing is powered on, I would actually plug it into the charger. So I'm gonna try to do that. Then I would actually move my extension cord up here, the other outlets for my USB hub. So this stuff is, yeah, so I could really work with this computer, how in this configuration and things, and it's going to be charged up. And if I turn it off, or it's going to be charging the battery and stuff. So, yeah, that's most of it. Besides, if I don't have a system like this laptop and things, there are tablets I could use. There are even smartphones that are as dynamic and you know, um, they feature storage and expandable memory cards and things. So those are pretty much. I return it. It is pretty much ready to be returned. What I wanted to really kind of figure out is if this was powering on correctly, and now it's starting to power on correctly. As I mentioned, sometimes with the operating system, it goes through a little bit of a memory cycle and stuff like that. Whereas when it boots up, it might have like pretty much corrupted or so I'm pretty much at task manager. The CPU is working a lot, not a lot, but okay, now it's starting to slow down. Background process 37 names, task apps, task manager. So I mean, this laptop is pretty nice to actually just have, just in case. Because if I don't have a laptop, then if anything pops up with my memories and or just files and doing stuff later on, I'll have to start all over and maybe even spend more. So as long as this bargain is as how it is right now, I'm pretty much and how much I've tested it. I've had it for 2 weeks. I might try to keep this if this powers on and things, and then I try to test the passcode. I might even try to test the passcode. Um, Having a passcode would be really safe and things. But dealing with Microsoft, I mean, I do need a computer, but the thing is, and also, yeah, just kind of dealing with devices and Microsoft and stuff. Never really, um, I mean, without, it's not as dependable. I mean, it might be, I mean, more reliable than 20 years ago, but eventually, just depends. But I might need a whole better system or something. But yeah, so was going normal, and then it's just you just can't power it on after So I basically took out the 512 gigabytes. So sitting up there, I'm probably going to use plastic wrap on it. I might even have to return it to them now that. but there's a passcode lock, so I think I'm going to have to return the hard, the SSD, but the computer powers on. Let me try to. So I'm going to just discard changes and exit. Well, just power it off, I guess. So yeah, that's just how it is. The thing is, yeah, it's gonna be tough but yeah, just testing a few things. But that's just how it goes, I guess. So I'm putting back the SSD just because I want as much of a refund for now. I mean, and also keeping the SSD. I'm not even sure if I could even get it to work with another computer. The disk drive might be faulty, and then I'll be charged for it and stuff. So I'm just going to return everything. I mean, it powers on now. I just can't just like factor in all the settings or all the research I have to do, and then just to have a computer that it functions. But I think I got to move on. I think I've got to just really factor in hard with the passcode like that. Maybe the passcode and things could be affecting the boot up sequence. So that's kind of boxed. Everything is in there. I'm going to just try to, I welcome to Upside DIY. So now I'm going to just try it one more time I'm not going to, if it's still locked. So if this laptop is still doesn't turn on while the power, and there's a actually clear to film, but if this doesn't turn on, and I could do a few, oh, so now it turns on. Now I could actually access the hard drive. Uh, a laptop like this. uh, So I'm just going to go to control panel, and so I think it says remove user accounts, change account type. So I try to remove user account, and then so it worked. I actually just typed in the passcode and then just changed this account name. Okay, I guess I did was able to change everything. So I just typed in the name of the computer and it changed. So I think this is ready to be returned. I mean, even though it works, but there's going to be, and just to be more convenient wise and things, I think I've got to just really just other stuff if I'm going to just really have something, pretty much um I'll have to have a mini PC to go with this laptop just to be able to test and back up stuff. From what I could pretty much have, uh, you know, for a next generation computer and things, this is quite a really nice, I mean, project, uh, you know, and basically, as people have been following this video, is just basically, the power and just between the operating system, the SSD driver, and it's the computer runs, but basically it doesn't power on in like 3 or 4 days, or I've got to keep it's not really convenient to like own this computer. um it's still in the return time in 30 days and things. If this were a different situation, then I would have to try to repair it and pretty much work with cleaning the just everything up, and it's just mine. I paid for it. But as system check or test, now I'm more familiar with the issues with the computer. computer not powering on.